you have made up until this point typically has been within the first 2 minutes of approaching a scene. If it is not obvious someone needs emergency care, through the head-to-toe check, you determine if 911 EMTs need to be called. If you need assistance, one of the resources available to you is the emergency or fall or potential injury policy. This is made up of 3 pages. The first page has a flowchart to help you determine if emergency care is needed immediately. After reviewing this page, if you are not sure if the person needs medical care or they seem fine but cannot move or get up without physical assistance, call 911. The majority of incidents our staff respond to are typically falls. Our first reaction is to lend a hand and physically help someone up. This is usually because the person wants to get up or doesn't look serious. You have been trained differently because the people we serve are vulnerable to injury even following a minor fall. At this point, you have done a head-to-toe check and the person seems fine. You can now help them up by providing hands-off support. If the person has a difficult time getting up on their own, offer for them to use a chair and refer back to your fall training on how to talk someone up from a fall. Remember that you can use a chair or a bench nearby, as well as you can use a blanket to put underneath them if the surface is uncomfortable for them to try to get up. At any point, if they appear in pain or they have a challenge in going to the next step, take a minute, reassess their need for emergency care. Remember that if you are unsure or you want to make sure that you are following policies and procedures, page 2 of the fall or potential injury policy and procedure will help guide you with the necessary steps of how to respond. Now the person is ready to go about their day. At this time, the monitoring protocol needs to be followed. This is page 3 of the fall or potential injury procedure. This monitoring is put in place in case any subsequent issues arise. A staff is assigned to stay with the person and monitor their condition. This is done in the first hour where the staff observes the person for any change in status. At minimum, every 15 minutes in the first hour, the staff checks in visibly and verbally by asking the person questions to see how they're doing. If the person is doing fine, that is documented on a monitoring log. If they have any concerns, that is also documented on the monitoring log. The staff person needs to respond accordingly if there are concerns. If there are no concerns, the staff continues to monitor after the first hour, every hour until the person is no longer being provided services, basically till the end of their day and they go home on transportation. However, if the person's in the community or at home, they continue to be monitored till the end of the service as well. If there are any issues identified in that first hour or following that first hour, the staff go back to a 15-minute check-in and stay with the person until there are no complaints or they receive care. An important step in the continuum of care is notification. At some point, when you're responding to the accident, you should notify your supervisor, agency quality assurance contact, and the person's service coordinator. If there are any minor scrapes, cuts, or bruises from the accident while being provided services with our agency, the person's waiver team needs to be contacted. Also, to close the communication loop, when the person is no longer in our service care, who is going to monitor them if necessary? Talk to the person about who you can notify, whether it's family, friends, or if the service coordinator is going to follow up once they are no longer in our care. This concludes the training on what to do when there is an accident.